hit some anytime goal scorers as well as safe shots on goal for some of these goalies. Give me both teams to score in the first period. That's coming in at plus 185 compared to the over 1.5 that is at minus 120. Okay, you guys ready? Let's make some frickin' money. It's time for Pocket with Jo. Good morning, everyone. Jo here at SportsGrid. It's time for Pocket with Jo over here on SportsGrid TV, on X, as well as on YouTube. Happy June. It is a Monday, June 2nd, and we're going to start looking at the Stanley Cup Finals that will kick off on Wednesday. I have series bets for you guys that you don't want to miss out on. We're going to go over all of these lines, all the different ways that you can bet the Stanley Cup Finals series. And of course, daily when we have games, Wednesday kicking off game number 1. We will do Pocket with Jo here at noon Eastern on the grid. So make sure you do tune in noon Eastern on game days on SportsGrid TV on X. But let's get started here. Good to see you, Glad the Ripper, this morning. We're going to kick off with what we're seeing with the books for these odds. And then we're going to get into my best bets and where I'm really looking for these teams. So when we look at the series as a whole, the books do have Edmonton as the favorite. Minus 122 here for the Edmonton Oilers versus the Florida Panthers. Now, Florida, slight underdog price. You know, that price is so nice at plus 102, but I look at the Stanley Cup Finals, and something has always told me in the playoffs after Edmonton got past the Kings, this was Edmonton's year. We won Edmonton in the last series. We also won the Florida Panthers to take the last series. So Florida took it earlier than I expected. I was hoping that one to push to 6, but after we saw the Florida Panthers come out so dominant, we did take it in 4 and 5 to get the gentleman's sweep as well as a full sweep, and we know the gentleman's sweep did come into play. Now with Edmonton versus the Dallas Stars, we had Edmonton in 6. They were able to get it done, minus 118. We paid for Edmonton to take the series. So it was a great one there with the Edmonton Oilers. Actually, they did win it in 5, so we didn't get it in 6, but we did get Edmonton to win at minus 118. We also got a couple of great bets on some of these players for their props up and down the playoffs thus far. So jumping into this one, it is really these two teams, the best teams in the NHL. And I don't just say that because they made it here to the playoffs. We know some paths are always harder than others, but you look at both of these teams and their ability to get back here again this season. Now, this is the first time that we have seen a rematch of two teams back-to-back since 1968. So this is the 5th time since 1968 that we have seen that rematch. And it's the first rematch since the Red Wings and the Penguins faced off back in the 2008-2009 Stanley Cup Finals. So it's been a while. It's been a hot minute since 2009. It's good to see both of these teams back. And if you watched last season, then you watched how these teams played this season, the prediction of these teams being back. Matthew Tkachuk said it last year. Edmonton coming back and Florida coming back is where he thought it would be as well. This is the Panthers' 3rd straight time here in the Stanley Cup Finals. Of course, getting the win in 7 last season. Now, if you didn't watch the Stanley Cup Finals last season, the Florida Panthers got off to a hot start. And we're talking hot. They went up 3-0 in that series. Bobrovsky absolutely stood in his head in one of those games, with Edmonton registering close to like 50 shots on him, and him just being absolutely phenomenal. And then we saw Edmonton with the pushback winning 3 straight. So we went 3-3 into game 7. It was in Florida. I was at game 6. It was incredible to see the Edmonton Oilers tie up that series and not allow Florida to win in 6. Selfishly, I wanted to see the Stanley Cup hoisted there, and because I was riding with the Florida Panthers, but they did see it hoisted in game 7 at home. Now, I think this series goes just as deep. I am looking for this series to go all the way to 7. If you want to bet the over 5.5 in the series, it's way too juicy. So we got a couple of things. I've already told you guys, I think Edmonton is going to take the Stanley Cup this year. Their 5-on-5 play is just so fantastic, but so is the Florida Panthers. You look at the power play. If the power play can start converting here stronger. Now, last year, the Florida Panthers held the power play to only 12%. for the Edmonton Oilers. The power play has to connect. They have to do better on the kill as well. They can't allow the Florida Panthers to be able to convert on the power play. And we still have the wild card of Stuart Skinner in net. We have to give him more respect from what we've seen this season in the playoffs. Stuart Skinner being able to record back-to-back shutouts. He's had 3 shutouts, I believe it is, in the playoffs here. And then we look at Bobrovsky. Bobrovsky has let in some weaker goals. I do think Stuart Skinner, of all the goaltenders in the playoffs, gets the harder rap. Right? It's because we've all seen, and I've been the most critical of Stuart Skinner. Edmonton, I haven't trusted because of Skinner, but you're seeing that defense step up in front of him. So I do think Edmonton can take this series. I do think this is their revenge year. And if that's going to happen, it has to be Connor McFricken David who leads charge, right? So without Connor McDavid leading charge here, I don't think the Edmonton Oilers can win because I look at the 5-on-5 play. Yeah, both are fantastic 5-on-5 play. This is why they are here. The kill is stronger for the Florida Panthers. The power play is just incredible for the Edmonton Oilers. But last year, the Panthers did hold them to 12%. We look at them in the playoffs thus far, what they've been able to do to these teams that have had elite power plays coming in. The Florida Panthers have been able to shut them down. So it's going to come down to, can the power play convert for the Edmonton Oilers? Can they give that defensive support to Stuart Skinner? Because if he is peppered, I don't feel comfortable with Skinner in goal. We know that. But he keeps proving himself. And it's kind of like one of those storylines. If someone keeps proving themselves to you that they're able to go there, you need to start trusting them. But, there's that little part in the back of your head going, still Stuart Skinner, right? So it's a struggle here. I do need that defensive support. I need that offensive support as well, because while Skinner can steal a game because he's completely on fire, I don't think he can steal 4 or 5 in a row. He can't keep stealing these games out there. To steal 4 would be impossible, I think. And I think looking at this without that forward support, without Connor McDavid on fire, you're going to really struggle here to be Stuart Skinner because Bobrovsky is the better goaltender of the two, in my opinion. You've also got the depth of the Florida Panthers. I look at all of those lines and how impactful they are. I look at the addition of Seth Jones and Brad Marchand to this lineup here for this playoff season. And I think they're the biggest additions. Now you have Jeff Skinner that has been added to the Edmonton Oilers. He's able to get a goal in the last series. You've got playmakers that were added on this side. You got Evan Bouchard really playing lights out in the playoffs. You got Leon Draisaitl. You've got the star names over on the Florida Panthers, and you have the depth here of the you got the star names in Edmonton, but the depth of the Florida Panthers. So this is going to be a series that I can't see their team coming out and just dominating. Like that 3-0 lead for Florida in the last one, I don't think we see that. We'll see after 3, I think, a 2-1 series with these teams playing really tight. I do think we see overtimes. I think in this series, we see one team completely blow out another team in one game, and the other team blowing out the other team in another. I think we see those tight defensive battles. I think we see the low scoring battles and the high scoring battles. I think this is a true mix here that goes all the way to 7 because I think Edmonton's winning. I'm going to take Edmonton to take the series 4-3 at plus 400. Now the odds have moved. I already got it at plus 400. You can get that at plus 425 right now in FanDuel. So definitely shop your lines. Make sure you get the best number. It was plus 400 a couple days ago. Edmonton to take this series 4-3. Now at plus 425. You're getting even more value. Now I'm going to look at a couple other things here going into this. So Connor McDavid, like I said, if the Edmonton Oilers are winning this series, it's because of Connor McDavid. And I truly believe that. So there is a lot of things we can look at here for Connor McDavid. I have put a quarter unit on every single prop here I'm giving you for Connor McDavid because it coincides. If Edmonton is winning, Connor McDavid is stepping up big time. He has to. We saw him in the last game versus the Dallas Stars. The last 3 games, he was able to get 3 goals. We had him for those 2 goals in the one game. That was plus 900. We had him for a goal in the next. Actually, we didn't touch him. It was way too juicy. But if you would check him for the goal in the next, he was able to get it. We took him for his points in that next game. So he leads all players in shot attempts in the playoffs here for Edmonton with 102. 72 scoring chances, shots on goal sitting there at 59, and expected goals just under 10 at 9.06 through the 3 rounds of the playoffs this far. He had 3 goals in those final 3 games versus the Dallas Stars. He's heating up, and he's willing to lead his team to hoist that cup. And I do think they get there. So if you think Connor McDavid can break Wayne Gretzky's Stanley Cup final record, he needs 14 points to be able to do so in the playoffs here, or in the finals here in this series. So if the series goes deep, we need to average 2 points per game. I do think he has the opportunity of getting a 3-pointer in a couple of these games. So Connor McDavid to break Wayne Gretzky's Stanley Cup final record, coming in at plus 610. He needs 14 plus points. I'm willing to hit on that. At plus 610, you have so much more value than taking him for 10 plus points in the series. Now, I know he could finish with 10 points, 11 points, 12 points, 13 points, and then we're not going to hit that 14. But at minus 106 for 10 points, if we think he's going to go that far, and the books do, the books are juicing every number below 10. They're giving us the top number of 10. If I think he's going to get 10, 14's not that far out of question at plus 610 for him to break that record. I think worth a shot. So I will ladder it. I will put the 10 plus points at minus 106 and then the 14 plus, because FanDuel's not giving me 11, 12, 13. So the 14 plus points at plus 610. I think those are two great ways to go with Connor McDavid. But I think another fantastic way is if I think he's getting 14 points, if I think he's getting 10 points, how many goals is he going to get? Connor McDavid for 7 plus goals in this series. I do think he'll get a hat trick in this series. The hat trick gives us 3 goals. 7 goals in this series is putting us at plus 2,600. It's worth a shot. I think if you think the Florida Panthers are winning, don't touch any of these props for Connor McDavid, because that means they're shutting him down. I don't think they're going to be able to shut down Connor McDavid this season. This does feel like Connor McDavid's year, the Edmonton Oilers' year. So 7 plus goals for Connor McDavid at plus 2,600. And then him to lead the series for points is coming in at plus 125. Quarter unit on all of those props for Connor McDavid. Again, Connor McDavid for 14 plus points to break Wayne Gretzky's Stanley Cup final record, plus 610. 10 plus points for Connor McDavid at minus 106, 7 plus goals at plus 2,600, and the series point later at plus 125. Connor McDavid, make us some freaking money out there on the ice. The other player I'm going to circle for the Edmonton Oilers is Evan Bouchard. Evan Bouchard for 7 plus points at plus 178. We know how elite he is from the blue line. He is firing that puck at speeds that are just unbelievable at the net. I do think he's going to be able to hit Bobrovsky. And if he doesn't hit him with the goal, he's going to get that assist as they crash the net and fire that puck in. When we look at the Florida Panthers, I do think Brad Marchand is going to be such a great addition to this team in the playoffs. He has that gritty experience out there on the ice. I do think Sam Bennett is where you want to look. Sam Bennett leading this team in their goals. He's got 7 plus points for him, coming in at plus 320. I do think Sam Bennett really steps up, and we're going to individually bet games for Brad Marchand and Matthew Tkachuk. I didn't really love anything going into the series for both of those players, but I do think worth a look. Now, we got to talk Conn Smythe, because we know last year, even though Edmonton lost, Connor McDavid still won the Conn Smythe. Now, Connor McDavid to win the Conn Smythe, I got it at minus 110. Those lines are moving a little bit. I've seen plus money on some books, negative money on others, so shop your lines. I still think Connor McDavid, win or lose, takes the Conn Smythe in this series. Player to win the Conn Smythe and not place the cup is coming in at plus 2,000. So if you do like Florida to win and Connor McDavid to win the Conn Smythe, you can look at the same thing to happen as last year at plus 2,000. Everyone loves Connor McDavid out there. Remember, this doesn't purely, I can't say the word, purely, you know what I mean. It's not all based on points. Of course, I have to have really stand out, but this is voted on. So you got to be careful with that. But I do think Connor McDavid is just someone that has every ability to take the Conn Smythe. If you think it's going to be a goalie here, the only way I can see if Florida wins the cup and Connor McDavid of the Oilers doesn't get the Conn Smythe, it could be a situation like Bobrovsky stands on his head. They shut out the Edmonton Oilers. I don't see it happening. But if you like Bobrovsky to win the Conn Smythe, make sure you shop your lines within your books, okay? Because I saw something really interesting on FanDuel. Bobrovsky to take the Conn Smythe is plus 250. The position of the player to take the Conn Smythe at plus 270 for a goalie, we're getting 20 more points for the goalie to take it rather than Bobrovsky. And if Skinner came in and stole them this, like if Skinner comes out and the Edmonton Oilers sweep the Florida Panthers because Skinner doesn't allow in any goals. Could you imagine? I can't imagine that happening. But then you're in a situation where you got both goaltenders at plus 270 instead of, and if you think it's going to be Skinner, you're ripping yourself off taking that. But at plus 270, I'd rather have both goaltenders in my pocket if you do think it is going to be a goalie this year who stands on their head in the Stanley Cup Finals, and there's no denying the fact that he deserves it. Now, that goaltender would absolutely have to be completely lights out. We know Skinner missed some of these games as they did pull him and put Calvin Pickard in, but I do think here, I don't see a goalie doing it, but I just want to know those difference in odds. So make sure you do shop those lines. I do think Connor McDavid, Edmonton winning, everything goes together. So if you're liking Florida, I am sorry. I love the Florida Panthers. You guys know I'm money over love, right? So my love is for the Florida Panthers. My heart is with Matthew Tkachuk, Sam Bennett, and Sam Reinhart. Those are my guys. Those were my guys from Calgary. I would love to see them repeat here and hoist that cup, but I just don't think it's going to happen. So my bias isn't weighing into this. I really do think, even as a Calgary fan, Edmonton's going to bring that cup back to Canada this year and make it happen. So it's going to be crazy if they're able to do so. And now we know Edmonton has the home ice advantage, but you guys, home ice with these two teams, I don't think it's going to matter. That game 7 in Edmonton, if we get that far, is going to be absolutely nuts in game 7 if they're able to get the win. The home fans will be crazy, but I do think this is one where we've seen both of these teams be able to win at home and on the road. They're both so dominant out there. I do think this is going to be an impossible series for one of these teams to win in 5 or 4, 5, 6. I do think we go all the way to 7. And like I said, we're going to individually bet each and every single one of these games. I do think it's going to be a roller coaster of emotions out there. I think we're going to have low scoring, high scoring. I think we're going to have back and forth battles. I think those penalties are coming between these two teams as well. And Florida has to be so careful because if Edmonton's power play is clicking, it's going to be insane. And the kill has to be stronger for the Oilers as well. But you guys, that's where we're going. I'll recap those series bets and what we're doing. And Florida is going to be absolutely tough. That is for sure. The Florida Panthers are a fantastic team, and I think they have every ability to hoist the cup. It's just, I do think Edmonton this year finds a way to get it done. The heart of the team is Connor McDavid, and look for him to lead this team to victory. I'll take series preview recap. Edmonton take the series 4-3 at plus 400. Connor McDavid to lead the way for the Edmonton Oilers, and Edmonton to win it. You can take Edmonton just to win at minus 120 if you don't want the 4-3 at plus 400. So Connor McDavid, 14 plus points to break Wayne Gretzky's Stanley Cup final record at plus 610. Connor McDavid for 10 plus points at minus 106. Connor McDavid for 7 plus goals at plus 2600. And the series point leader, Connor McDavid at plus 125. Remember, he is leading in shot attempts at 102, scoring chances at 72, shots on goal at 59, expected goals just under 10 through the 3 rounds. He got 3 goals in the last 3 games versus the Dallas Stars. He is ready to hoist this cup. I'll look at Connor McDavid to take the Conn Smythe. I was able to get it at minus 110 as well. And then I will take Evan Bouchard, 7 plus points at plus 178. I know it's not as much value as we would like, but Evan Bouchard has been complete fire for the Edmonton Oilers. As for the Florida Panthers going into these games for the series, I will take Sam Bennett for 7 plus points at plus 320. I do think this is going to be a great series for us individually betting each and every single game. Those are my bets going in. We will be looking at more props for Matthew Tkachuk and Brad Marchand of the Florida Panthers as we go in this series. If you go into it for Brad Marchand, I do like him to be able to get those goals on the board. I am really tempted to take 2 plus goals in this series for Brad Marchand, but I'm not getting the price I want. It's minus 110 for 2 plus goals. I do think if we just bet him individual games, we are going to have a better chance. Same with Ryan Nugent Hopkins, 2 plus goals coming in at minus 120. Now, if you want to take it up to 3, I do think the 3 plus has every ability to hit for Ryan Nugent Hopkins. Now on that top line with Corey Perry and Connor McDavid, as well as Corey Perry. So looking at those line mates of Connor McDavid is a great way to go. Corey Perry is coming in for his 3+ goals and at plus 260, while Ryan Nugent Hopkins is plus 270. Those are two guys, if you want the 3+ goals, I do think are going to be able to get it. I think I'm going to individually bet each in these games. Brad Marchand for the 3+ at plus 290. If I have any changes to that, you guys, we will do game 1 preview at noon Eastern here on SportsGrid TV on Wednesday, and I'll let you know if I jumped in on any of those, because I'm sitting here looking at this frickin' plus money, and I want it. I want it so bad, and I do think that it has every opportunity of cashing. So Corey Perry, Ryan Nugent Hopkins, and Brad Marchand for their 3+ shots or 3+ goals in this series, all at plus 260, plus 270, plus 290 range, I think has every ability to cash in this series, and I'm teetering on the point of betting those. So let me know what you're liking out there on the ice for these players in the series. Let's make some freaking money. We'll break down game 1 Wednesday, noon Eastern here on the grid. We'll see you there, and glad the Ripper. It was great to see you here this morning. We'll see you tomorrow or Wednesday. See you Wednesday, guys.